good afternoon. Wherever you are, this is the Flux Motorsport Winter Special Event of 2021. This is what we've all been waiting for after the season of each championship finishing. And now we're up for the showdown of a one-make series of the Renault Megans at Dubai International. We have 10 sign up today. 10 turned up. We've got NZ Jack, Pogo Mojo, Missy Apex, Supercrusher, Dirt Rally, CDN Trooper, Alaxon, or LU82, Muttley, and Slidehoon. Now this special event is much different to all the other special events we've had in the past. Is something we have a new setting, as the theme of this special event is close racing. From what you can see here, lap times are all very varied, as while this new setting has been put on, drivers still have to master their braking points, their lines, their accelerator, and how they drive this track. What is the setting? Default setups. With the theme of this special event being close racing, we've put the default setups on to bring the racing to be as close as it can possibly be. Just a quick 15-minute qualifier to a 30-minute sprint race. That is the theme of this event. Before this is the qualifier, before the final, which is unrevealed. These drivers will be battling it out in this qualifier the best they can to show where they will be in the final. But it's unknown how they'll be in the final because they don't know what cars they're driving. They don't know what tracks they'll be visiting. That's what they'll all be waiting for. So after the off-season has kicked off from the championships, we've entered a few club races and they've all gone well. But my favourite part about all of these is that we have drivers from all different championships entering these special events and club races. Notice in this event, we have the GTE driver of Pogo. Always ahead of him is a GTE driver and a V8 supercar driver, while Missy Apex is often in the Formula Renaults, while Supercrusher won the IndyCars last season. We do have two other champions in this race of Dirt Rally winning the V8s, and NZ Jack winning the GTEs. L82, another Flux Motorsport champion of the last season, when taking out the touring car title, really fixed those setups towards the end of the season, and he just pulled away after riding a brilliant job through Rupuna as he finished off in the final round. CDN Trooper, another touring car driver. We also have Muttley, who is entering the GTEs and the IndyCars, as well as the LMP2s, and Slidehoon, who is a new driver. This will be his debut race, I believe, this Flux Motorsport special event. So with 4 minutes left of quali, default setups, all the drivers can do is make their driving lines and braking points as perfect as possible. With practice lobbies seen in these cars, I have seen Jack be the highest in the 37s. I've seen practice lobbies. I've seen Spud Mad, who you guys have seen in the GT5 club race and the final race of the V8 Supercars Championship. Spud Mad took out both the sprint races and the feature race and won the V8 Supercar race, but he has set the 36s. Unfortunately, he will not be with us tonight, but that is the quickest time I have seen in this track out of all the Flux Motorsport members and drivers. But we have seen Supercrusher take up to second place, right over Dirt Rally in third. Pogo Mojo wipes up to fourth place with Supercrusher taken in, but there we go. CDN Trooper in the red and black taking fourth. This will be my favourite thing about this race. Well, actually these races, because the final is using the same settings as this race. These guys, they can't do anything to these cars. All they can do, the only thing they can change, the only thing they can improve is their driving. This event is all about the driving. No setups, just driving. And I believe since the last winter special event, this is a new event that has more. This is the race that has the most previous Flux Motorsport champions from the previous season. As what we do have 1, 2, 3, 4. I believe we have 4 Flux Motorsport champions in this lobby, with being in the touring cars, the V8 supercars, IndyCars and GTEs. And that is my favourite thing about these off-season races. This brings all the drivers from different championships, whether they're the fastest, they're an all-around driver, or they won the championship. And great job to these drivers, as this is a special event that is held in the middle of the off-season. If you guys aren't a Flux member and watching, the previous Flux Motorsport special events that you can check out is the autumn special event of 2020, which was the GTEs and LMP2s taking it around Fuji in an endurance race. Then the first winter special event of 2021, the Flux Motorsport members and drivers chucked it into the snow, where they were in the rallycross lights around the hell. Following that, we went to the Nordschleife. Following quite a really good cause, we had the Group A's in DTM only spec around the Green Hell in a qualifier and a final, like all special events, taking out, I do believe we had Spunkmeyer finishing third, who's left. We had Chris Import winning, and possibly Liam Bazinga. I could check back on that, who won the last special event. But with 30 seconds left to qualifying, Jack is still in the 37.9s. Don't think he's going to be breaking that anytime soon, because that is very close. He has just breached the 37s by a millisecond. Supercrush taking that second spot still. Dirt Rally's in third. The top 3 is all consisting of championship champions from the previous season. This is something I'm highly excited about. CDN Trooper still in that 4th place. Pogo is still on track trying to make up some sort of lap times. But Dirt Rally does seem to have been struggled there. He did have a few of his lap times invalidated there. If you can look over to the implied feed in the bottom right hand corner. Misty Apex takes in 6th place. And L82 in 7th. Muttley, oh, there it goes, spinning out in that hairpin, hoping that's not some sort of commentator's curse, but there we go, Muttley in 8th and Slidehoon in 9th. What we're almost excited to see is who will be able to show what they will be seeing in the qualifier. What's possible in this race is that some drivers may actually be better than what they're driving in the final, than what they're driving here. We may possibly see, for example, Misty Apex, or even L82, or even Muttley, be quicker than some of these topper guys in the final, because they don't know what they're driving. They have no practice. So I do believe we may see some drivers that we aren't expecting in the final to be quicker than some of these top guys, because with these different cars, different tracks, they don't know what they're driving. They do not have the practice for these yet. They get warned, they get told, it's all announced after this race. But there we go, guys, the final results of their qualifying. The results did not change too much from when we last saw. We do have Revs Martin taking a new strategy of the no qualifying strategy in 10th place, but that's what we're going to have to look back on as we go into the race with half an hour sprint, 10 cars, 1 winner. NZ Jack takes pole. So here we go, guys, the Winter 2021 special event, the second winter special event. Much different to what they were driving in the last winter special event. No snow, the heat is much higher. 63 degrees Celsius for the track temperature, as you can see in that top corner. With the default setups, these cars cannot control how much fuel they have, nor do they control how their tyres are. So whether these tyres are too soft or too hard, these drivers do not know. All they can really check is the information boards during their lap times, but what they'd be most likely be wanting to focus on and how these laps can go. So they do not want to look at these tyres. They may not have the time. You will see close racing. You will see overtakes. You will see it all in this winter special event. Just going through the drivers for a final time, with NZ Jack taking first. And Super right behind him. Dirt third. All Flux Motorsport champions. Pogo the IndyCar driver. Apex in fifth. We're off for the 2021 second winter special event. That's almost 3 wide into that first corner. That's Pogo. Dirt. Almost 4. Missy Apex is looking very eager and excited as well. Heading into turn 1, that 3 wide and 4 wide is going a little easier. There goes Pogo, Super, Dirt, Muttley taking out a few positions already. Who's that? Is that CDN going wide? It's Apex going wide. Jack's taking quite the lead already, as he did not have to take any cars around him. And Pogo's taken up second. And who's that? I do believe that's CDN Trooper. He was taking some sort of 2 wide, or possibly losing control, heading into the hairpin. For those that haven't driven this track too much, this hairpin is where you want to be really careful, as if you are too hard on the accelerator, you will still get some sort of wheel spin. As we did see Super tilt his car a little bit when he heading into that exit. Dirt is looking onto the overtake. What I find most interesting here is these two drivers in Dirt Rally and Supercrusher. They were first and second in the V8 Supercars last season, but they never really had a true on-track battle. This is the first time they will be really racing each other in forever, basically. But there we go. That's Super going wide after taking the inside move on Pogo Mojo. Jack ropes it away with Pogo. Dirt taking the outside move on Pogo. These guys have had great racing before. If you guys have seen the GTEs at Daytona earlier in the season, these guys were really battling it out in their Corvettes and the Ford GT. Heading 2 wide into turn 1, that is Dirt Rally taking, I believe, the outside. But Pogo still has the inside. Dirt Rally hits the outside corner of his car. I don't believe that will be enough for damage, but I don't reckon that will be handled by the stewards either. But with that contact, I reckon Pogo will be taking it away. Actually, no, that was Super we were looking at. Pogo's taking second and he's flying away. Pogo will be looking up to catch up to NZ Jack. As the car's heading into inside corner, that is Dirt making to look in the inside move on Super, but I do believe, and he knew that was too early. But who is that? That's CDN going wide there. With Apex on the inside, Revs taking 7th. So there's no qualifying strategy by Revs, meaning he didn't get the practice of what this track is like. But in case there was any car engine just up front, he would have avoided it. But there was nothing in the front. This is full clean racing here, because as you guys know, Flux Motorsport is the home of clean sim racing. If you do want to join in, you're checking this out, go to fluxmotorsport.com. We have championships hosting in the UK, European regions, American regions and Australian regions as well. Many club races will be held after this before we head into the season, with the championships hopefully starting into the mid-January area. But straight back into the race. Jack still extending that lead for almost a 1.9 second gap. I reckon we can see 2 seconds after this lap heads in. Pogo takes second place still. Super third, with Dirt Rally trailing behind him. Muttley 5th, Apex 6th, Rez is 7th, taking already 3 places since he started last. L82, the Touring Car Championship in 8th, and CDN 9th. Slight Hoon on his debut race, great job for him, mate. Let's head straight back into this battle with Dirt and Super Crusher. I'm eager to see what this looks like in Dirt's cockpit view. No, we've got to head straight back to compact side. That's Pogo spinning out. Exactly what I talked about earlier. The wheel spin in that hairpin is vicious. Dirt Rally, second place already. That's 3 places that have been changed in that top 4 with Pogo spinning out. Dirt Rally takes the outside move on Super Crusher. Apex is 4th, making out, I believe that's already, he just made up 3 to 4 positions. Going over Revs, Pogo who spun, and Muttley. I wish we didn't look at that earlier, but there we go. We do have the fastest lap of the race so far with Super Crusher. What's that earlier? Is that Muttley? That can't be. Not Muttley and Pogo. Not again. For those that haven't watched the races from last season, these guys were big rivals. They were always having some big close racing, always getting near each other with the overtakes and making almost some sort of contact sometimes. So that, I don't reckon that's a surprise, but wow, Muttley and Pogo, that is some rivalry we are seeing with those two. But Missy Apex already taking 3rd place. This is what I'm saying. This is exciting racing. No setups, and this is just close racing. The theme of this event already sees from what we've seen in this race today. Revs already starting last to 4th. That could have even been that in what he's had his mind. Pogo and Dirt in 7th and 6th when they were both in 2nd, 4th and 3rd battling it out with Super. While Jack just tries to extend this lead, we're going to see CDN going eager behind him. No, who's that? Is that Pogo again at the hairpin? I believe that's Revs Martin. That wasn't Muttley, that was... Yep, that was Revs Martin. And Pogo's still going. You can see the damage on his car. I don't reckon that will be enough to make him pit. He knows if he goes into that pit lane, he will be losing too much time. We're going to take a look on damage on Revs Martin's car. His front bumper looks fine, but we'll check right back into the action with Pogo, Misty Apex and Super still taking that top 3. Dirt Rally and Pogo with Muttley behind him. The last battle I remember with these two was Daytona GTEs last season. These guys were having some really close racing, and here we go, we see it again. That was Muttley obviously seeing some wheel spin from the rear corner here. Is that Dirt Rally taking to make the inside? Hoping the stewards will not have to. That could be the stewards having to handle that. What happened with Pogo and Revs Martin, and then Pogo and Muttley the earlier lap. I do believe it's most likely some sort of car control and wheel spin from both that hairpin and the corner following it. So here we are, Pogo took the inside move on Dirt Rally. Dirt Rally leaving that space. He knows he has to be careful. Both cars know they have to be careful in the hairpin with the accelerator. As we have, and then Jack extending the lead. That's 4 seconds and a half almost, but slowing down a bit. We do have Super. Yeah, what's happening with Jack? That's going from 4 to 3 really quickly. In 3rd, Pogo and Dirt still battling. That's Dirt on the inside. Outside actually, Pogo on the inside. Will this ever stop this battle? When they head back onto the straight, I do want to look back onto the other battles around the track, because I know just looking on that track map, we do have so much more happening on the track. But yeah, we go. Pogo takes it out of the straight. Dirt Rally. Oh no, we've got Dirt Rally taking it onto the inside. I don't want to leave this alone. This is the battle for 4th. Dirt Rally, I believe, does have to quicker on the straight from that exit off the turn. You can't say it's anything to do with the setup because they're all running the same setup. Dirt Rally takes the inside line. Pogo does let him go. But CDN in 6, we'll have to see how that goes. And Muttley in 7th. Slide Hoon, debut race. already taking 8th spot. Brilliant for Slidehoon. Had his evaluation only last week and he's already in 8th place. Brilliant by Slidehoon. Absolutely loving what we're able to see here. L82 in 9th. I don't believe he's got too much damage from anything that happened, but Slidehoon had to let him go if that was some sort of wheel spin in that area. But we're going to take back onto the dirt rally and Pogo racing here, but Pogo seems to be dropping back from dirt. It can't be the damage he's got from the earlier wrecks, because from what we saw in the first 10 minutes, Pogo was racing just fine around dirt rally. It can't be anything to do with the damage, and that's not something we want. But yeah, by the looks of Pogo's car, he's got no damage. For nothing happened there, just a little scrape on the side. So I don't believe that's any sort of aero damage. But CDN in 6th place, Motley in 9th, LU in 8th, Slidehoon in 9th, and Rev's taking it into 10th place, as he does unfortunately have to go into the pits. It must be from the damage from the early, yeah, you can see scrapes all over that car. That must be some sort of aero damage or suspension damage. Unless the drivers will be pitting for tyres, but I do not be thinking all drivers will be pitting this race. Some will really will be wanting just to keep it out on track. There we go, Revs is taken into the pits, back onto the action though. Jack is taking it back into that 4-second lead. This could be a recurring theme. In this Sector 2 area, Super does seem to be catching up. This isn't Jack slowing down. I reckon Super's quicker in Sector 2. Super Crusher still does have that fast lap if we look at the info feed, but if we look at the timings, does Super still have that fast lap? No, that is NZ Jack. Super with a 39.5. And that's Jack with a 38. The only other person with a 35 is Dirt Rally Pro and Pogo Mojo. Those who are battling it out for 4th and 5th. Not as close anymore. That's Dirt Rally taking a 2-second lead ahead of Pogo. Missy Apex is still holding that 3rd place. There's brilliant moves by Missy Apex. He saw the carnage ahead of him. He must have just been careful. We could not catch it on track, but he must have just been careful. Weaved around whatever happened in front of him and takes him to 3rd place. So for the Flux Motorsport Winter Special Event, the second Winter Special Event of 2021, we see Missy Apex taking it from the back of the pack straight into 3rd place. Unfortunately, we do have Revs Martin. That's Motley in 9th. We see more battles at the back of the pack, with Motley taking over the debut driver Slidehoon. Brilliant racing by Slide in the qualifier of the Winter Special Event of 2021. That's Motley taking the inside. Slide with gifts in the room. Slide must know. Motley had the quicker driving. We can't say quicker car anymore with these default setups. But with the battles, I still see this is the quickest and closest battle on the track. Motley will be looking to make that move to escape Slidehoon, debut driver. Motley doesn't know what Slide is right, as I do believe that these two have not raced with each other before. But with this pure driving, I do want to see, we're going to take an onboard look with Jack and Zed to see how he tackles this track, how he tackles these corners. As he makes his 9th lap. These cars all make 6 gears around this track. 6 speed, rear wheel drive I believe, with V6 turbos. Heading into the first corner, it's a long sweeping right-hander. .2 kilometers, heading into the third corner, right-hander with the back straight. These cars, when you get into that drafting on this back straight, that is your number one opportunity to make that overtake. But when we head into this hairpin, this is where drivers watch their accelerator and how much accelerator they're using. Jack's mastered this already, as you can see, but as we saw earlier, prime examples of what I'm talking about. We saw Pogo spinning out with Revs Martin and also Muttley on another lap. I don't believe that Muttley incident was due with the wheel spin. I could be wrong, but that hairpin is where we see most likely more incidents, or the most likely incidents to occur. Any sort of wheel spins. Yeah, and unlucky for Revs, he was one of the drivers that didn't end up getting caught in it. But crazy driving by NZ Jack. Brilliant racing last season. GTA Championship. And I have spoken to him before, and he has said he wants to continue that streak. He wants to take that 3 in a row. Taito, I believe he was second place, giving him a hard time, but unfortunately by the end of Texas road course he could not make it. And I reckon McToasty can still take this into the GTA Championship as well. Toasty, I don't believe, was able to attend all the GTA Championship races. So if Toasty is consistent with his attendance, I reckon Toasty could give Jack a run. But heading onto the trackside views, straight back onto the battles. Because I see Muttley has taken a gap on slide. But is that Pogo making the gap on with Dirt Rally a little closer? But compared to these guys earlier, we saw Dirt, Super, and NZ in the top 3. While we saw Dirt and Pogo in 4th. Both Dirt and Pogo went back to, I believe, 8th and 7th at one point, but that, you can already see them making their way up through the pack again. With CDN 6th and LU82 7th, Muttley 8th, these were the drivers they were battling earlier, making their way through them. And I reckon this top 3 will be staying fairly consistently, but I am absolutely loving what we've seen from Missy Apex today. Straight from the rear end of the pack and into 3rd place. This is brilliant driving for him. Missy Apex, who was a driver last season racing in the Formula Renault 3.5s and the V8 Supercars. He is someone that did both. He was really improving along the season as the season went on for those cars. Missy Apex has stated he is a driver who enjoys the wet races, as in the Brands Hatch race of the V8 Supercars, which was not streamed unfortunately. Apex got his first podium there, I believe. And Apex's last race of the season, before the final V8 Supercar round, he was at this track. Just a longer version of the GP circuit, where instead of cutting off to make that sweeping right-hander, he takes the GP circuit, and he was in the Formula Renaults. Unfortunately, Apex was involved in some incidents, I believe, on the track, and what was keeping him from gaining the quicker times and positions. But yeah, Apex keeping this 3rd spot, 12 minutes left to go in the qualifier. This is close racing, this is what we've seen, this is what I was expecting for this race. These guys were going crazy in that first lap. Almost 4 wide, I believe, in that first lap. But I knew these drivers, they're clean, they know what's cautious, they know that they still had another 29 minutes out of them. So those drivers who almost made that 4 wide had to obviously back out, make it 3. And we still saw some great battles between Pogo and Dirt Rally for the rest of the race. But NZ Jack the GTA Championship for the previous season, still keeping it fairly consistent, as that gap that was 4 seconds earlier is now 5. Super in second is only, yeah, there we go. It's almost now 6 as well. Super sponsored by Logitech, as I do hear he's driving a Fanatec wheel, so that's nice to see him supporting the other wheel companies. Keeping that 2nd place, Super, who won the IndyCar Championship last season, driving for the Honda Andretti Motorsport car in the DHL. He is one to look out for next season as well. He stated he still wants to keep that championship alive. He wants to defend his title. But I reckon Toasty is someone that can also, depending on if Toasty participates in IndyCars as well, Toasty is also going to be given a run for Super as well. depending on how tired if tired participating in GT is not, I reckon Toasty will be going for both Super and Jack. But I believe Apex has got Dirt Rally catching up behind him. Dirt Rally's now made that gap from Pogo, a 4-second gap. And yes, that is Pogo right behind him. So they are possibly getting closer, but with the back markers, we see that's Revs Martin in the pack. That could possibly be NZ Jack, one of the quicker cars on the field, more the quickest cars on the field. NZ Jack, last podium he had in Flux Motorsport was, I believe, that was streamed in the GT5s at Monaco, or Azuri GP as we're calling it here. So Jack taking another podium as he's keeping up his consistent great driving we've seen from him. Jack is the Kiwi, and behind him is other fellow Kiwi drivers of Dirt Rally, but right behind him we do have more Australians turning up than I was expecting. 4 V8 Supercar drivers. I believe we had Super Missy Apex Dirt Rally and Revs Martin. Yes, that is 4 V8 Supercar drivers. And checking up on Slidehoon, making a debut race on a winter special event after passing his evaluation this week. Keeping that 9th place, he's driving cleanly, and that's what we want at Flux Motorsport. He's keeping that consistent. He had some good battles earlier throughout the pack. He did hold that 8th place at one point. With Muttley, he was having some good battles, but he did end up letting Muttley go after a while. But you see, that was Revs Martin, and yeah, that's NZ Jack still catching up to him. But so far, we do have this podium still keeping that consistent. Looking out for these guys in the final, NZ Jack, Super and Apex. First, second and third. All drivers of different disciplines last season. 2 of them racing open wheelers and 1 of them taking the big meaty Corvette in the GTEs. We've only seen 1 pit stop today, which is quite good to see. I was hoping to not have to see too many pit stops. Really curious to see how all the drivers' tyres are going. All of them seem to be having... Super's got the warmest tyres I've seen on the race, I believe, but it does seem to be that front left tyre that's got the most heat out of all the drivers. Looking, if you are curious, you have to see in that top right corner. Based on the colour, you can see how warm their tyres are for all the drivers. But yeah, that is Super, who's got his tyres at the highest temperatures. The only reason you can see it is you can't say anything to do with these setups. These default setups, all you can say with the reasoning of Super having the warmer tyres, that he is driving his car as hard as he possibly can. I don't think he knows, I don't think he thinks he can catch up to Jack, but he still has to drive as hard as possible so we can keep that position away from Misty Apex. Super and Apex has had some on-track battles last season in the V8 Supercars, I believe, but I don't reckon it will be enough for Apex to catch up to Super Crusher. Checking on the timings for the fastest lap. That is the fastest Sector 1 by Super Crusher, but NZ Jack still has the fastest lap overall. So, yes, Jack is slower in Sector 2. This could be last lap, I believe, as the timings update. So Jack could be getting a little slower as the race goes on. But now we've just seen Misty Apex. Can't say when because it wasn't last lap, but Misty Apex has now joined the 39 club for all the drivers, and all drivers in the top 5 of the races now joined the 35 club. Apex taking in that 39. We only saw 4 drivers that would be able to reach the 39s earlier in the race, with Jack, Super Crusher, Dirt Rally and Pogo Mojo. But now, yeah, Misty Apex does seem to be improving his lap times as this race goes on. Not what I'd exactly expect as with this Dubai tracks. With the temperatures so high, they treat the tyres terribly. Not the drivers, but this track. Tyres do not like this track. With how hot the track is, that sweeping right corner, you're going, with how quick you're going there, heading straight into a downhill, almost a tilt as well. So it's slightly off camber, but not exactly. But Dirt Rally will be used to these off camber calls. He did come, I believe, fourth in the championship of Dirt Rally last season. In the first Dirt Rally championship season, he did take the crown. But congratulations to Eddie Power, who did take the reins of the Dirt Rally championship last season. And Dirt Rally will be making talks his moves, as he's often competing in both the V8s and the Rally championship. 5 minutes left to go, everyone. Drivers are still fairly the same. They are keeping their consistent lines and keeping their braking points. However, the only setup changes I believe they can possibly make is within their own car. And all that is, I imagine, is the brake bias. So Slidehoon is now an 8-second gap from Muttley, who were battling earlier. NZ Jack and Super. Missy Apex in third. These drivers keeping their positions, they have shown everyone what they will be doing in this special event of the winter 2021. As you can see, this theme is close racing, but also one manufacturer racing. So all these drivers can do for the next race is guess, but all will be shown to them after this race. And I can say it's not something they exactly expect. We are treating all time zones for all our drivers well. Each driver from all the time zones will enjoy this next final. That's all they know. Well, I don't think they know that too exactly, but on a recap of this race, we did have NZ Jack taking first place for I believe the whole race. I believe he's kept that first place as he got that good start, and he kept away from the 3 wide in the start, which we had Supercrosser and Dirt Rally and Pogo. But who is that on the inside? Is that Super? No, that must be Revs Martin as the back marker, letting Supercrosser go. Yes, that is Revs Martin letting Super go. So the telemetry map is showing 2 more back markers, but I believe they aren't on the same lap as Super, but Super won't be catching up to them anytime soon. Revs will be having that 10th place due to the incidents earlier in the race. Curious to see what the stewards have to say about what happened there. So all drivers watching this that aren't participating in a special event, this is exactly why we have these stewards inquiry systems, to sort out any incidents on track like this. Always a good reminder to save those clips within your races, or save the replays, because you never know what evidence you may need. The Super and Revs driving together, these guys have been champions, not champions, but teammates for most of the season. But there we go, Revs spinning out of that hairpin. That's exactly what we've seen most of this race. The driver's taking careful on the accelerator out of that hairpin, as Missy Apex is taking that 3rd place. Super will be liking this, as he wants Apex to be behind the back markers more. It's not like the back marker can stay in front of him, but he wouldn't mind Missy Apex making up more time on the track behind the back marker, as he wants Apex to stay in that 3rd place for as much of that race as possible, just in case Super does lose any control of that car. Apex will be keeping that 3rd place with that gap of 13 seconds behind Jack in 5 seconds. Almost an 8 second, 7 second gap. 13.4, 13.5. So what's happened to Pogo? He could gotten some sort of penalties. We'll have a look on the timing board to see any penalties. Yes, that is a 1 second penalty Pogo has. That will not be affecting him in the race, I believe, as he's got that 24-second gap. Are we on the last lap? We do have a minute remaining, and I do reckon that will be enough. That could be the last lap, is on the back straight. We're setting almost around consistently, or on average, I'd say 1 minute 40s to 1 minute 39s on average with the lap times. ends at Jack in the middle of Sector 2, heading into Sector 3. Sector 2 is where I had only assumed that Jack was a little slower than Super and where Super was catching up, but overall Jack was able to keep that car away. Jack turning on his lights, he thinks he's on that last lap, or two. But brilliant driving by Jack, he is absolutely amazing. Something I know that I love about Jack that he is known for is he's a driver that is suited for a race like this. I know a lot of in these seasons that we have in Flux Motorsport, all the drivers are putting in many hours, many minutes into perfecting their setups for the race. But Jack, he wins championships and races without changing his setup very much. Jack has stated that the only setup changes he really likes to make within his races are setup changes for his downforce, radiator, differential, and his fuel consumption with the tyres as well. So Jack is a driver that's absolutely suited for something like this. Not changing his setup very much. Here we go. We've chucked him in a race where setups aren't mattered, where setups are not available to change. And here we go. Jack has taken the 6 second gap, kept first place this whole race. The timing has finished. This is the final lap for all drivers on the track. And what a brilliant race we've had. Those first 15 minutes for our winter special event, everyone, were absolutely close. And it is absolutely what I was expecting for this race. Some really, really close racing. And these drivers showed us what they can do. This is what we love at Flux Motorsport, the home of clean sim racing. I think Jack's even just slowing down. He knows he can just take it easy. He isn't driving these cars to the max anymore. This is brilliant driving by Jack. This is what we've seen last season in the GTs. This is what we've seen in that club race at Azura GP in the GT5s. He rose up that field in the feature race. And here we go. Jack wins the qualifier of the 2021 special event. Supercrusher taking second place. Missed the Apex, who stormed up the field from the rear end of the grid, taking third after avoiding any sort of incidents he could. Taking third, Misty Apex, brilliant driving by him, absolutely loving the racing we've seen. Dirt Rally taking fourth after some amazing battles with Pogo Mojo. These guys were absolutely battling it out, going side by side on nearly every lap for the first 10 minutes. In sixth place we have CDN Trooper, one of our touring car drivers from the previous season, taking sixth place. Behind him was LU82, the Touring Car Championship winner. So congratulations to LU82. But that's CDN taking 6th. LU82, 7th place. All the drivers coming across to the finish line. Brilliant driving by everyone. And Muttley currently in 8th place to finish off. Muttley has had some interesting battles on the track. I believe that was some sort of incident earlier with Pogo. So it is to decide if the stewards had to take some sort of consideration in what happened there. But great job for Muttley, who had some good battles with Slide Hoon earlier. But here we are, Slide Hoon, everyone, on making his debut race in Flux Motorsport. It's what we love to see, some good clean racing by our debut drivers, and this is what we've seen. He gave the cars with space, and that's what we see. Brilliant racing to everyone. Unlucky to Revs Martin, who was involved in a wreck earlier. Yeah, his best lap was a 1:41. But I do like the strategy Revs had. He kept last place. At first he avoided the 2 wides, the 3 wides, the spins, the contacts, the carnage, the hits, the misses. Revs avoided that until he couldn't. That's really unfortunate for him. But absolutely loving Slide Hoon making his debut race today. Jack topping it up with first place. Super in second and Misty Apex in third. This has been the second winter special event of 2021 from Flux Motorsport. Brilliant racing from everyone. I will see you guys from the final. If you guys are interested in joining any clean racing, go to fluxmotorsport.com. FLUX. And you will see us for the final. So they're cars that still remain a mystery for all drivers. Thank you for watching, everyone. This is Mark.